This is really funny. I ended up doing a whole speech all on my own. It was not recorded, not at all. Okay, so let's start with our motivation. Om Gye Nyugye No Jan Sam Pema Gesa Dong Bola Yanzen Jage Ngadot Nye Pema Done Shesuda Kordu Kando Mambe Korge Kede Suda Tugi Tingi Rapti Shesus Guru Pema Sidi Hu. So, I think maybe I have to do this. I'm not sure. Maybe I think I have to do this. Yeah, okay. So, anyway. This is the second video I'm trying to do. I told you already I'm trying to train into making videos on Instagram. And I'm not used to it. This is the second. The first one was called First Thought, Best Thought. And it was relating with this sentence I heard in my sleep, which was how was that? Yes, the adornment of nakedness. That was the first one. And now I'm wanting to talk with you a second time, because this is part of my motivation, is to do my best to share my spiritual experiences, and I will explain to you a little bit what I mean by spiritual, because maybe it's important to define the words. But I would like to train in how can I do that. So I just have chosen to do it online directly. I'm not keeping the videos. I'm not doing any editing. I know nothing about how to keep the videos. So anyway, this is what's happening now. And so let's get into our subject. So we were talking about the Buddha Dharma and how the idea of spirituality, in my case, I'm relating to how we feel inside of ourselves. Since we are children, we can feel it maybe sometimes, maybe we feel it often, maybe we only felt it at one moment because we saw something beautiful, or because we were so much in touch with something that really reached our heart. We feel that there is inside of our being something extremely simple, something extremely gorgeous, and something irradiating, something that is kind of perfect, but in the same time it's not really me. It's the state in which I feel happy. So it's not so much something, it's more, I would say, the natural basics of everything that happens in our life. Now, it's like we would say a hidden ground, or a hidden, like if you're painting on a paper, you don't see the paper anymore when you're finished, but actually the paper is where you could paint that. So actually, even you're painting on the white paper, you have all this freedom, all this creativity on your white paper, and you're painting a monster, horrible, frightening. But actually, the paper opened to you this possibility to do whatever you wanted to do on there. So this is what we say. No, people say they want to realize their dreams, and actually that's what we do. We do realize our dreams, and very often, if we look at the case of how is going on society as a whole, the dreams is not, my dream, your dream. The dream is like we are doing it together in the physical realm. We are making it together. It could be a nightmare somehow. And it's also the dreams we're realizing. We are realizing the production of suffering. We do it. And we know we do it. And it's not something that we should feel bad about in the sense of making it worse. It's more that we understand that we did have the chance to be in touch with the possibility of lineages of people that dedicated all their life to understand how can I work on myself. So it's paradox, huh? And in the same time that I have to work on myself, why? To get rid of whatever is not allowing me to simply be in touch with my sense of satisfaction, with my sense of simple being. How how come all this production of things, which are often leading to suffering, how is it that I do it, and how is it that I perform it? It's amazing, and in the same time, it's dreadful, it's terrible, because it ends up sometimes in such horrible, dramatic creations of very powerful armament, bombs, everything we do, all of it. So, and it's us, it's not them. Excuse me, it's us, we are. You cannot be born in whatever state that doesn't have to do with yourself, just like a mushroom, you know. The mushroom doesn't look at the TV, doesn't have the same reality you do, but the mushroom is appeared in the mushroom kind of existence. So in our existence, what happens in our existence has to do with ourselves. So when I say paradox, what I mean is that in the Buddhism, you are in the same time relating with this spirituality, which is not something different from normal life. It's not something out of reach. It's completely normal, something that is my basic. And how in the same time I can study what the lineages gave to me, and they gave so much. It's in many forms. It's in many kind of cultures, embedded in different ways, different cultures. So we can all find exactly what we need. Very precise. And it's a result of many centuries of people. You know, people like you and me that dedicated lives and years and nights and all their heart to showing the path. Each one on his own way, each one in his own kind of, I would say, poetry, or his own kind of voice, or his own kind of mandala, as we call it. You know? So the paradox is that on one hand, we need a structure. You know, just like your body, you have a skeleton. So somehow you need a structure. There's no way to be physical and not have a structure. And as we incarnate in a body, that's at least what it seems, we need a structure. And on another hand, we need to never kill the child, the freedom, what's inside of our intuition. So it's not all one thing or all the other thing. The idea is not, I get completely entangled in my guilt about I'm being so problematic and I'm never able to do this and not able to do that and I'm like this. And this is very depressing. So this doesn't work. You know, all your practice becomes just some kind of bad treatment we do on ourselves. Or the other hand is that, I want to be free. I just do the, excuse me, bad word. I just do the fuck what I want and don't bother me. I'm like that. And so this is the other excess. So the other extreme that happens, you know. Yeah, okay, it happens. But these two extremes are not the middle way. The middle way is that you find that in the same, and you know, this is what we find in music. We find in everything we do. We find in learning a language. We find in driving a car. We find in, I don't know, of course, dancing. Dancing is obviously, yeah, because if you don't learn how to dance and you're really a professional dancer, it's complicated, you know, to really reach the respect to the art and to produce something that is beyond my ego. It really needs structure. And on the other hand, don't kill the child. So this means that there's a thread between my intuition. There's something that is really, really coming from deep, the foundation, this simple thing in myself that is free, that is good, really good. No, not trying to convince I'm so nice. No, it's the goodness, yeah? And that thread is like in the same time structure and in the same time the intuition. So how can I start? Yes. So we would say that in all Buddhism, whatever is the form of the Buddhism, has to do with this working on my habitual tendencies and how can I learn how to know myself and to get rid of the production of suffering. That's how it is to begin with. And that means that I'm starting to get in touch with myself. So it's a little bit, the beginning would be like in Theravada, and that's what I want to talk about. Because, of course, in Buddhism, when you know a little bit more, there's like 3 main groups. I am related to the Tibetan Buddhism, which does contemplate these 3. So the Theravada, or called sometimes Hinayana, which is like a practice more related to the historical Buddha Shakyamuni and all this idea of discipline, all this idea of how Buddha started his life, how he started to have disciples. So it's related to how we discover at one point that we can protect ourselves, somehow create an environment that is a little bit less complicated, a little bit less in the temptation of how my ego will somehow be tempted to create suffering, because somehow something inside of me likes that. It seems a little bit weird, but it's true. That's why we could see horror movies, for example, no? So there's lots of things that we are sometimes unaware that we are attracted to, that thing that's going to make my life miserable, because feeling miserable is how I am me, I don't want to get too much into that, but this is something we can discover. And we can discover that somehow, of course, that can last forever, or it could also be something that we learn how this habitual tendency could just, get suddenly dropped, or dropped slowly, step by step, or just get, like clothes. You used it so much that it's just goes to the garbage, finished. So this is all the ways you can work with. And so the first step is like solitary. How can I create an environment that I come back within? So simplify a little bit outside, I come back within. Now, I'm not telling you to change your life. I will never tell you that anyway. I don't think anyone can tell anything about these things to people. But what I'm telling is that the technique I'm talking about comes from there. And it is the awareness, the mindfulness, how I can become mindful of my physical presence. Yeah, it seems so simple, and that's what it is. It's very simple. Yeah. So how can I become aware of my physical presence? And here, what I mean is not at all to control your physical presence. In this case, of course, you could control when you want to do something, like you want to dance or you want to do things, you can control, of course, sport, whatever. But in this case, I'm not talking about controlling. I'm talking about how the first step of your practice, if you are interested in the Buddha Dharma, of course, the first is that you check your motivation. And then, of course, the whole thing that you're going to do, like whatever is it you're going to do, imagine you're going to cook for your friends. So you check your motivation. That's very easy. I check my motivation. I want to make something good for my friends. That's my motivation, to share with them, to offer to them. And then I do the cooking, and we eat, and that's the whole theater piece. And at the end, dedicate. So at the end, may this thing that we have been living together, the dedication, may all of this digestion of whatever is it we ate, it's finished, it's all gone, disappeared. May that energy produce something good, something fruitful for every being, for all beings, and may I become like the tree, giving good fruits for all beings without choosing who has the fruits. This is like Jesus said, we recognize the tree from its fruits. And the fruits are many fruits, and the tree just can't help it. He's doing fruits. That's what it's about. It's about that. So this is the first thing that we can apply. It's easy to apply. You can apply it before you sleep. You can apply it. You don't need to be Buddhist. You can be whatever you like. It doesn't matter, but you can apply always this thing. Dedication, the main practice, and, I was meaning motivation, the main practice, and dedication. Okay? So this is like 3. It's like in theater. It's like in life also. The sun comes up, rises, he goes to zenith, and then he goes down. It's always like that. Or like you're born, you live, and you die. It's the same thing, yeah. So it's always like 2, but then it's not really 2. It's 3. So the mindfulness of our body. Mindfulness is a word that has been used in a set of kind of practices that are done a certain time. So it became the name of this kind of retreat. But actually mindfulness is a practice in itself. And so if you want to practice mindfulness and you have not much experience, even if you have a lot of experience, it's very interesting to apply the Lord Buddha's proposition, which is to be mindful of your body as it is. And it is usually in one of these 4 stations: sitting, standing up, walking, laying down. Of course, if you're a dancer, you can say lots of things, but you can apply even your dance into coming from one to the other, like coming from sitting to laying down, coming from laying down to walking, you know? What do we mean by being mindful? We mean it's not that you're controlling your body. It's just that you are aware of how you feel in your body at that moment. Like how you feel, like you're sitting down. So of course, we can call it meditation if you like. You can take 3 minutes. It doesn't need to be something that is separated from daily life, because daily life is the practice. Otherwise, we always, I don't have time, I didn't have time, I won't have time. Yesterday I had time, now I don't have time anymore for 3 years. Yeah. So this is how you get, it's like sneaking into your life, that your path is the main thing in your life. That's the thing, that's the main plate. So how this being aware of, I'm sitting, I don't have to control it, I'm just aware. Of course, when you are aware, automatically the awareness does its own job of fixing things. You don't have to really fix too much. And that's a little bit what I was saying before. Structure and intuition. Because there is a part of our awareness that is always wanting to do well and to do good. So this is the first step, the mindfulness, that we can understand how we fool ourselves. Because if we don't understand how we fool ourselves, we can never guide ourselves. We cannot be responsible for ourselves, because we don't even know what we're doing. We have no idea what we are doing, what we're doing to others. We don't know. And then if you get used to touch and go, it means that you feel how you breathe. I'm breathing quickly, or I'm just breathing up there, or my heart is so quick. You don't change anything, but actually the fact that you did notice that, it does make something different. And it slowly starts to change the quality of how my presence starts to be something that my body brings back to my mind, instead of my mind bringing back my body. Yes? So sitting, walking, laying down, and standing up. More difficult, standing up on their feet. All the weight is on the feet. Sitting, how you feel your posture. Maybe you take another posture and you just feel. That doesn't have to be a long time. Maybe nobody notices, but that's a moment you're not looking at your phone, you're not phoning, you're not thinking about what you're going to do later, what you did yesterday. Just a little moment. Yeah. And if you have these little moments like that, walking is very interesting, because walking is easier actually, because walking has rhythm. So you can use the rhythm to bring your mind back when it's just gone in the stars. But then laying down is very interesting also, because you slip, from this awareness of kind of outside world, the world outside, and then how you drop, you drop into a world that your body is laying down, but you're kind of having another body somehow doing something else. Yeah. So you get awareness starts to be some kind of a thing that you relate with, and that you will actually find quite interesting. I don't say it's always comfortable, but as the time goes, it does become very comfortable, actually. It becomes really nice, because it's like, you have your friendship with you, because friendship is your state of mind and goodness is your state of mind. And then you recognize so many people have given you so many things that they are like always present with you. So it does become very nice, delightful to be aware and mindful. But in the beginning, sometimes it's a little bit less agreeable, but that's how you learn about suffering. You cannot learn about suffering without opening the eyes to what that is. And always thinking it comes from somebody else or that the other people are doing that. Yes, we know nowadays the world is like a little bit overwhelmed. So when you walk, when you sit, when you lay down, when you stand up, you can feel your body, you can feel your breath. You do as the best you can, not to judge yourself, not to criticize yourself, not to try to fix yourself. Just let that practice be very, very simple. And then you won't say you didn't have time. What you can add to that is that I do feel, sitting down, I do feel the air. I do feel the warmth, because we have 37 degrees or 6 like that, no? I do feel the coolness. Maybe a part of my body is not warm. Maybe even I have my feet are cold and the rest is warm. I feel it. I feel the waters, the saliva. I feel the eyes, it's watered or it's dry. Am I sweating, not sweating? The water quality of how I am sitting and the quality of how things circulated. So the air, the warmth, the water, and my body, the bones, the earth, the flesh. When we talk of air, we're talking about all the skin. Each little hole of your skin is breathing out and in, actually. It's actually not that little. If you take a microscope, it's a big hole. Yes. So, and this breath is like how the whole symphonia, the whole choreographic of the 4 elements are happening. It's incredible. It's amazing. We don't really relate to that usually. We always want to make some theory or some kind of a very fancy brand about these things, but actually it's very simple. You sit and you feel the warmth, and then you feel your mind is also warmth somehow. Maybe you feel your mind is also liquid. Maybe you feel your mind is breathing, so it breathes in and out. Who is that? Yeah? So you feel that you have a structure. Your bones and your weight, there is a structure. And that you can kind of, like the earth, you can kind of trust that. You can kind of rely on that. So that's how the awareness, the mindfulness, starts to kind of take care of the healthy mandala of being a human being. So this is just a little proposition. It is very simple. Sitting down, standing up, staying standing up for 1 minute, 10 seconds. Walking backwards. If you're a dancer, you have some challenges. You can do all of these movements, and you can cut your movements into pieces and breathe and feel the awareness, mindfulness of your body in each posture. Like if I do that, I can cut that in different, and I can just feel that posture. You can make it more sophisticated. Why not? If you are somebody who is getting bored with simplicity, you can make it a little bit more difficult. But actually, you could make it very simple. So I think that's a little bit what I wanted to talk about. The global view of this paradox, this paradox of how can you hold the complexity of things, the complexity of yourself, your emotions, your feelings, how you can do all that is to touch this ground and then step by step find this thread of going on the path that is between the structure, the discipline, and the total openness and freedom of intuition. And this is the body that gives you the indication. The body will give you the indication, actually, if we do have this kind of faithful relationship with the mindfulness of the body. The other aspect of Buddhism, we will talk later, the mind training of how to relate with emotions and how to relate with one another, the other people, myself, all this. And then the third part is more like the magic of transformation and alchemy, how to relate directly to your path as already the fruit. The fruit itself is the ground. So that's the third one, but we have time, I hope. I hope this was a nice video. I wish that whatever I'm doing can be useful for myself, for all beings, that I can make me probably such a better fruit tree, a tree of fruits, and may you all be full of fruits for the benefit of all beings. Thank you very much. I still don't know how we finish these videos. I'm going to try to do like this.